sometimes tend to hide, and I also question my notion of being able. But you see, I could altogether try for once, just this time, lay my cards on the table. It's you. To think that I'd perhaps conspire and jump through rings of fire to feel a sense of elation. Well, no, I think I'll just retire and walk on splitting wires to reach that destination. Master, I came up to Shasta. Call me in my dreams, begin writing a new chapter. Living like a rasta, living through disaster. Can we heal this world just a little bit faster? Away, right away.
Of course. So we're honored to have you, Nikki, because you are an incredible, not only woman, but artist, human. Like I gotta tell you, doing the research for this chat past couple of days has been a joy with you.
Oh, thank you
Like
so
what an
much.
interesting person you are, Nikki.
Thank you. Appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
I mean, okay, so yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, your music is amazing just for the soul. I mean, for mindfulness, for calm, you know, but also, you know, of course, like you're practitioner of Taoist Tonic Herbalism and like finding out all
Yes.
that stuff. Great entrepreneur.
Totally.
So yeah, Nikki, I mean, just welcome to the show. Really happy
Thank you.
to have you.
Thanks. So happy to be here.
Cool. So yeah, Nikki. So you know, let's start with this. Like now more than ever. I mean, okay, so your new single Equinox, it's coming out March 19th.
Yes.
And it's in line with the spring equinox, which arrives the following day.
Yes.
Had a chance to hear it, loved it.
Thank you.
Stunning, powerful. And we'll chat about the music in just a second, Nikki.
Okay.
But let me get some color on you. Are you in
Sure.
Mount Shasta right now?
I am in Los Angeles right
Is
now.
that where you are?
Yeah, we're
You're in Los
I
Angeles.
live in Mount Shasta. We basically are both places. My boyfriend and I, he's on the track and he actually produced the track, TMGMusic. So we, you know, stay in Mount Shasta part of the time in LA. It's just it's very yin yang. I describe them as yin yang energies because it's like, you know,
Yeah.
LA's got all the activity, everything going on, and Shasta is just very calm and healing energy.
Yeah, definitely. So is LA a little bit more open? Because last year I went twice.
Oh, you
And it
did?
was a little,
Cool.
it was eerily shut down.
Mm.
You
You
know,
talking about Shasta or Los Angeles?
Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I definitely can feel the difference, you know, energetically. I was just talking to my boyfriend about that. It does feel it kind of feels a little quieter. Like, you know, a lot of businesses are obviously shut down. There's less activity. A lot of people are out of work. So it's you can energetically feel the shift if you're from LA and have lived here for a while. But it's still alive, you know, it's still like the people that are here that have been, you know, making it through during this time. I commend everybody. It's, you know, really, really challenging times. And so, yeah, it's like a bittersweet feeling coming to LA, but yeah, we're happy to be here, and just wherever we are, you know, is where we're meant to be. So
Yeah. I love it. I love it, Nikki. And tell us a little bit about Shasta. I've never been up there. That's in Northern California.
yes.
Um,
Yeah,
just do you mind sharing with my audience and with me, really, but
sure.
also with my audience, like what makes this place so special? Because it looks amazing and fascinating.
Yeah, it is. So the mountain actually has a lot of history. There's a lot of spiritual energy there. Basically, you know, people come there from all over the world for the water. It's one of the most one of the oldest pure water systems coming from Northern California. It's basically the head of the Sacramento River starts right there in Mount Shasta. So you can literally just go, you know, to the headwaters, fill up your water bottle. People come, you know, from all over to fill up water. So that was a big thing because I'm, you know, very much into health and what's more important than water, you know, for living and for survival. So yeah, that was a big reason for going there, and just the mountain, the energy of the mountain. It's beautiful, trees, lakes, waterfalls. So it's just very rich. The landscape is very rich, and it's of course, very different than LA. There's only 3,500 people that live there. So it's really small, but it's been a nice change. It's really nice to have access to both places. Yeah, because I feel
Definitely.
they complement each other. They're so different, but they complement each other.
Nikki, and okay, so you grew up in Los Angeles. Did you
Yeah.
grow up like was your family like into holistic stuff? Like were they artists? What kind of like upbringing did you have, Nikki?
Um, well, actually, I was born in LA. My dad is from Israel, so we
Gotcha.
moved there when I was about 5 years old. So I grew up in Israel for part of my childhood, and then when I was
Nice.
around 12, we moved to Arizona. So we moved back to the United States. So kind of just moving around,
Hmm.
experiencing different cultures. My parents were not really musical people at all in terms of like like they don't really have any like musical talents, so to speak, but my mom has always been into music. Like she would play Bob Marley for us, when we were in Israel, just all kinds of music. She would play Van Morrison, just kind of like, folky Bob Dylan. And so I did have a lot of music playing when I was younger. Also, I had exposure to European pop in Israel, which is really cool because they got a lot of the European pop stations. So, like pop from Sweden and Europe and stuff like that. It was cool to have access to like Israeli music and then, European pop. It was kind of like a melting pot of just different sounds when I was growing up. So, yeah.
Cool. I love it. I love it. That makes sense. That makes sense. Because you're so colorful. So it, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, Nikki, of course. And tell me a little bit about the tonic herbalism. I'm sorry. I know
Sure.
these questions you answer them like every
Oh,
day,
it's okay. No, it's all good. I'm happy
but
to. I
it's
appreciate it.
just fascinating stuff, right? Like if you don't mind, like a 101, because I researched a
Yeah,
little and it was like great, but I gotta ask the source.
definitely. So you want to know basically what Taoist Tonic Herbalism is or how I got into it or
Yeah.
both?
Let's do both. Let's do
Okay.
both.
Okay, cool. So basically, Taoist tonic herbalism is a specific category of Chinese medicine that incorporates the tonic herbs. So these are herbs that are known to be have a lot of healing properties with very little side effects. So these herbs,
Nice.
basically reishi mushroom, rhodiola, cordyceps, ginseng. These are some herbs that you probably heard, at the grocery store. But there's just so much out there that it's hard to know what's what. So basically with Taoist tonic herbalism, it's based upon the system of yin yang. So essentially, we're made up of energy. Our bodies, organs have different energies that need to be balanced. And so if you're running too hot, if you're running too cold, there's something called adaptogenic herbs, which basically like regulates your body function. So depending on what you need, the herb will adapt to that. So yeah,
No
it's a
way.
very
Wow.
ancient system of medicine. It's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
I got exposed to it around 2010. I met a Taoist tonic herbalist, so he was basically taught Taoist tonic herbalism from a teacher in the old tradition and kind of passed it down to me. It's kind of like a teacher-student type relationship. So I interned with him for about a year, and then I actually was able to get some of his herbal recipes onto the menu at Cafe Gratitude, which is a popular vegan restaurant. So yeah, I was working with a tonic herbalist and really into vegan raw foods, like that whole
Right.
movement, and they kind of went hand in hand. Um, and yeah, I just kind of came across it in that way, and then I really had just started noticing like how I felt from drinking, the tonic herbs and then making them for other people. It was something that people really enjoy. And I just really love serving them to people because you could just tell they've never had something like that before. And it like
Yeah.
creates a whole experience. Like, wow, what is this? Like it tastes like it has sugar, but it doesn't have sugar. It's creamy, but there's no milk. So I basically try to do like, the vegan, organic, gluten-free, like as dietary friendly as possible for as many people to be able to enjoy, or even for someone that's
Yeah.
diabetic that can't do sugar. There's no reason you still can't have dessert or drink a superfood latte, and enjoy yourself, but it doesn't have to have sugar in it. So yeah, just finding
Right.
creative
Right.
ways of making drinks and food and things like that.
So you're very much into like the body's like self-healing and like
Yeah,
nature and like that kind of stuff, right?
definitely.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm with you. I'm with you. I totally connect. And I promise we'll get to like, the music. I mean, right on time, by the way, to my audience, right on time. Her album came out October 20th, 10 songs, unbelievable. Start there. We'll get to that in a second. But let me ask you
Thank
this,
you so
Nikki.
much. Yes.
No, it's amazing, but you're just too fascinating. What's your take on the vaccination for COVID?
Ooh, yeah. Interesting that you brought that up. I I personally, at this point in time, I don't resonate with getting it. My parents got it. I know many people that have, and I really feel like it's kind of a situation where it's like to each their own. You know, this is a very delicate situation with this virus because you have people in different age groups that are in different places with their health. You know, and so for me, even though I've been practicing this lifestyle for for some time, it's just I can't really say what someone who's in their older years should do. It personally for me, I don't resonate with it, but I'm not the one to tell people like don't get it. I think everybody should do their own research and do what feels comfortable to you. So yeah, it's a very
Their own
sensitive
situation.
subject. Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay, cool. All right, I just scratched the surface there, but I like it. I like it. Thanks, Nikki,
Yeah,
for opening that up a little bit.
totally.
And
Yeah,
so let's talk about Equinox for a second because it's so great.
sure.
I mean, it centers around the changing of the seasons, the passing of
Hmm.
time. Um, you know, all this stuff highlights nature's beauty, the elements, creativity, love. It's just a
Hmm.
beautiful song. Uh,
Thank you.
and tell me a little bit, Nikki. I feel like the world is in dire need of like this balance, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's exactly why we felt like right now was the time to release this song. My album is kind of has a combination of the light and the dark songs, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like
Hmm.
just takes you through a journey. And I felt like right now, after, well, we're still in it, obviously, we're still very much in the pandemic and just going through a lot of stuff, a lot of loss, a lot of people have died. So it's like just a lot of heaviness. And I think that with the album there were some songs that addressed that sort of like just the heaviness, not necessarily of like the pandemic specifically, but just of our times, things that are going on. And I think that the springtime is, yeah, it's a perfect time to just kind of breathe some fresh air, and have a new experience and look at life differently and just really like rejoice with what we have, and
Yeah.
nature is springtime is a beautiful time of year. The flowers are coming out, everything is fresh air, fresh flowers, and it just felt like a time to come out with something new that was really positive and uplifting around this
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah. Nikki, I get a feeling just from you that that you've grown a lot this past year, and like you're happy that the world has grown a lot, even if it hasn't realized it yet. I just get
yes.
a sense like you're in that, like you get it.
Totally. Everything happens for a reason, and even like I think it's probably the hardest thing to tell someone, like, if you're when someone is sick or has lost somebody, that everything happens for a reason. But at the end of the day, yin and yang, that's the balance of nature. So it's like there's always going to be an ebb and flow. There's always going to be the light and the dark. And that
Yeah.
contrast is just a theme that's mimicked through nature, and so yeah, even though there's been a lot of darkness, it's kind of forced a lot of people to go inward and look at themselves and maybe look at their lives or things that no longer serve them, maybe people in their lives.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's definitely like a time of renewal and kind of like, just taking an energetic shower, I guess, like just, washing
Oh
ourselves
yeah.
off
Yeah.
and starting new. So
I
yeah.
love it. I love it, Nikki. And segueing into that, talking a little bit about right on time. I mean,
Yes.
you brought it out in October, and 10/10 for a reason, because
Yes.
we're talking about transformation, we're talking about
Yeah.
change, and you
Yes.
were very adamant about like the 10-year like opening, the 10-year chapter coming
Yeah.
to a close, if you will.
Totally.
I did want to ask you, you talk about love, heartache, loss, letting go, everything that can happen in 10 years. I want to ask you
Hmm.
about the cycle for a minute, because the other day I was reading a book by a
Yeah.
neuroscience. The name escapes me now, but he's saying that there is a chemistry of transformation, and
Mm.
what it means is basically there's an opening, there's a
Hmm.
cycle of things that happen, like you get satiated, like you get pleasure with something, then you get satiated, then it becomes
Right.
uncomfortable, and then there's an opening for
Hmm.
you to make the change.
Yes.
But that opening closes, it's not
Mm.
unlimited.
Right.
And then like most people are afraid or they're fearful, they don't make the change, and then the cycle kind
Hmm.
of restarts.
Right.
And it got me thinking about the 10-year thing with the album
Hmm.
of yours, because I wanted to ask you, was the 10-year thing, do you think it's like under our control, or like basically does the universe dictate when we change, do you think, or can we like maybe like be more focused, take more action, and maybe shorten the time span of that 10-year change?
I think it's both. I think that I'm really into like divination tools like astrology, numerology, things like that. And I just know that those things have a lot of power. So like, if I read my astrology and it says there's a transit coming up, this is a really good time for businesses, contracts, starting something new, then I know I'm aware that that's happening. But I don't think that people, you don't have to live your life by astrology or numerology. I think that what someone is interested in, that's what they receive more of. So because I'm open to astrology and numerology, I get messages in that way. Like I see, 444 or 222 like on the back of a car, and I know what it means for me. Like it speaks to me. So, but I think that you absolutely have to have a willingness to do anything in life. You know what I mean? The things that are harder, like transformation, I think a lot of people are afraid of it because it does involve a lot of letting go. It involves like looking back at your life, a lot of reflection. And some people that have had, well, everyone's had, pain in their past or even in their present. So sometimes it's hard to like go into that, like lean into the discomfort, if you will. But I think that if you're brave and you want change for yourself, that you'll make it happen. Each individual just has to decide that for themselves. But I think there's definitely, favorable times when the universe supports certain things happening, for sure.
I love it. Unbelievable, Nikki. Like what an artist. And people are gonna love
Thank you.
the album. Let me talk about the collaboration with Kamasi
Sure.
Washington, because it's one of the things that the album is full of surprises.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's like, it's news. Like it has so many like different like flavors to it. It's like you don't know what to
Yes.
expect, but it's all
Like a
delicious.
musical rainbow.
And
Exactly.
one of them
Totally.
is Kamasi Washington, obviously.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like Starburst, pink, orange. I don't know what's happening, but it's all good.
Thanks.
Kamasi's, for my audience that doesn't know, maybe one of, if not one of the best saxophonists in the
Absolutely.
world.
Yeah. He's incredible.
I mean, he's played with
Mhm.
everybody, Grammys,
Yeah.
you name it,
Sure.
like whatever. He's just the best. Tell us
Totally.
about playing with him in the album and the collaboration.
Yeah. So that collaboration actually came about a long time ago. Well, what I consider now to be a long time ago, like around 2011. In LA, there was a really popular bar called the Piano Bar, which was right in Hollywood, and it was like one of the best spots to go see live music. And Kamasi and Miles Mosley, Tony Austin, they were all basically at the time their band was called the West Coast Get Down. They all went to school together, so like it was a really tight clique of musicians and friends that played together for years, and you could just hear it, when you went in. So at the time, it's not like I was seeking out Kamasi specifically because they were all incredible musicians, and I just wanted to collaborate with them. And so it just so ended up that Miles Mosley, Kamasi Washington, and Tony Austin got together. We got together and we were able to make the track. It was really organic. They were all very chill, super cool. And then years later, I see him on the Billboard and stuff, and it's like it's really cool to see his success and how far he's gotten, and to be able to
Cool.
have worked with him at that time. It was a cool experience.
I love it, Nikki. Well, Nikki, you've been so great and generous with your time. Let me leave you with this. How have you thought about? It looks like we're getting out of the weeds with the live music. Knock on wood.
Yeah,
like for the
definitely.
fall.
Right.
How have you envisioned to translate your beautiful art, because it's beautiful and it's complex, into a live performance?
Sure. Well, I have
Do you
already
hear me?
been doing basically like live streaming, and that's for musicians right now to keep that alive. That's really where it's at. It's just basically Instagram live. I haven't really done so much lately. I'm going to get better at doing that, but just working on more content to be able to put out. Spotify, like working on boosting my Spotify and all my online streams. But for performing specifically, I'm going to be doing more live stuff. I've worked with some apps. I've did Hago. What was the other one? Live Me. A couple of those, music apps that are fun to do, and they have different programs. So yeah, I'm just exploring different ways to stay relevant, so to speak, in these times. And I think by doing this with you, via Zoom, it's definitely, helping to get the word out there
Yeah.
about my music, which I really appreciate. So thank you, Jamie.
No, well, I think your music is it's gonna be us. It's gonna be pretty timeless. It's grounded on universal elements. So
Thank you.
it's gonna be there, and the universe is gonna expand it in its
Totally.
automatically.
Right.
So you're creating something really really special, Nikki. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying it. It really
Of
means
course.
something, people that actually appreciate music giving you that feedback. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Nikki. So thank you for your time, and let's reconnect down the line.
Absolutely. Totally. Thank you, Jamie. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Peace.
Take care.